Hey everybody, I'm Captain Kyle.
I'm Maiden, and we're here to review and discuss the Crisis on Earth X.
The fantastic CW crossover event that just concluded. Be right back. So, the latest crossover on the CW with all the superhero shows just came out. And overall, I thought it was fantastic.
I enjoyed it, despite problems I have with some of the shows.
Well, I thought it was very good. We're going to talk about some specifics. There will be some spoilers, so warning, if you haven't seen it, go and see it. There didn't seem to be a lot, to me, of build-up. It wasn't like this huge advertising blitz. I saw a few things here. Crisis is coming. We had no idea what it was really about.
Yeah.
Just flashes.
They kind of made it this big mysterious thing, which I think may have drawn people intrigued as to how similar it was to Crisis events in the DC Comics universe.
Right, or, you know, people who aren't familiar with the comics, which there's a lot of new viewers being drawn into these universes were like, this sounds interesting, and there's flashes of fighting, but
also
they have no
possibly
idea.
People wondering if this had anything to do with the crisis that the Flash is supposed to vanish in.
But I thought it was a very cool crossover. The opening scene with the Guardian facing what we came to find out, and it was pretty obvious, an alternate version of Oliver. Guardian got his butt kicked.
Yeah,
but it was
last long.
It was good to see him though, because we haven't seen him.
Very original Captain America shield.
Well, it wasn't round. It was more.
No, it was like
the original.
The style of the original. That's what I said.
We haven't seen him really at all this season on Supergirl, have we?
No, that's one thing that I have had taken issue with the show, is that they started this Guardian storyline and either dropped it or just used it to create interpersonal conflict and vault other characters.
Wait, you're saying CW shows manufacture character conflict? I've never seen that. Yeah, I think we should have a drinking game every time in The Flash, especially someone says, I'll go talk to him or I'll go talk to her. You know, we get plastered. So the wedding was a big thing, and Iris and Barry finally tying the knot. The rehearsal dinner was, when we first saw Jitters, I'm like, they're not having the wedding at Jitters. And having Alex hook up with Sarah was awesome and hilarious.
And pretty easy to spot from far away.
That was...
Hey, look, they're standing together. I wonder what's going to happen here.
Hey, just because something's predictable doesn't mean that it's not fun to watch. So, the rehearsal, and then, of course, the wedding, which gets rudely interrupted by Nazis.
Yeah.
I did find it interesting that it took them so long afterwards to figure out that it was an alternate Oliver and an alternate Kara, when it's pretty obvious to us watching it. I mean, I guess they hadn't realized it was someone from another universe at first, but when it's someone who pretty much has the powers of Supergirl...
Same skills and the same powers and basically the same design, you would think at least she would wonder, hey, why does she have this crest on her chest that it kind of resembles mine?
And they might have thought it was finally the revelation of the Earth 1 Supergirl coming out just evil. Because Harrison later on says there are 53 Earths.
Yep.
There are 53 Supergirls.
Well, 53 Karas. That doesn't mean that she's Supergirl in all of them. As you pointed out, Krypton could still be in existence in some of them. She could be in the future in some, and she could be an outer space alien ambassador. I hope.
There could be a lot of reasons why we don't see the Kara on Earth 1. Krypton might not have exploded, which leads me to wonder, Oliver, later on, pulled out a Kryptonite Arrow. Where did he get the kryptonite?
So it could be synthetic, synthesized in either Star Labs or his cave. It could be that Oliver covertly went to Kara's Earth and got himself a piece. I'm sure he's capable of doing that.
And how did he figure out that kryptonite was the weakness of Supergirl?
Because she mentioned that you would need kryptonite to overpower her when they brought her together for the superhero fight club.
Is that actually... I thought that was more of a trailer than an actual...
It was a special promo, but it's listed as a TV short.
Okay, so pay attention to those weird commercials, because sometimes those are canon. I loved his answer when she's like, do you have a Kryptonite Arrow? Why do you have a Kryptonite Arrow? In case we have to face an evil version of you, that's why.
Of course.
Yeah, he's very prepared. Was he a Boy Scout?
Well, he's definitely being kind of portrayed as the Batman of the Arrowverse, since they don't seem to have one. He's the brooding rich boy, and he's prepared for anything.
So they do have Bruce Wayne.
They do. One of the things that people are bothered about is she got hit by a very large kryptonite arrow and pretty much just yanked it out.
Yeah, that... There could be reasons for that. One, you said it might be synthetic.
Another reason could be if the solar radiation that was killing her is also heightening her abilities and lessening her susceptibility to kryptonite.
Yeah, that was my other thought that I had.
Yeah, because it's still obviously able to penetrate her, but... Right,
and if it's synthetic kryptonite and it works like Richard Pryor's, it's just going to make her evil. Oops,
well...
too late. So where did Oliver's bow come from? I mean, it looked like some kind of fold-out tech thing at the wedding when he
pulled it out of his sleeve. He brought a sleeve arrow to a wedding.
A sleeve bow. Did he have arrows in the other side?
I
guess so, because he was
why
shooting
would you
arrows.
bring a bow without arrows?
Though half the time he's fighting just with his bow anyway. Now, the one person who I kind of wanted to see at the wedding, and then later on I realized it would have been problematic for him to be at the wedding, was Jay Garrick, played by, of course, John Wesley Shipp. I thought he would have been an awesome person to be at the wedding, but at the same time, people who knew Barry's dad and were at the wedding, they see someone walk in who looks exactly like Barry's dad, that could raise some questions, so...
They could have given him one of those face things they keep using.
Yeah, Harrison has one, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, or Harrison had one.
HR
had one. Maybe he bought it from his own Earth. But they should be able to duplicate.
Yeah.
And wait, was Harrison at the wedding?
Yeah, he was helping people get to safety.
Which is kind of strange because Harrison Wells is still considered a murderer, which is why HR had to get his face disguised in the first place. I just thought of that.
Yes, but he also said that the rest of the world sees...
Yeah, but that was HR, not Harrison.
Maybe they told Harrison. I don't know.
Or maybe they forgot.
Maybe they forgot, and it's a plot hole.
Then you have Mick comes in and he hates cops.
So
he
they
sits
sat him
right
next to a cop and his husband, yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. And he didn't recognize him. That was odd. Very odd. Very odd. But you gotta love Mick.
Well, the cops are used to seeing him with, like, goggles and a hood, so...
I don't know, I think that cop did recognize him, but he was like, I have no idea, I'm just
not messing up the wedding. He's here for some reason.
We'll leave that to the Nazis. Yeah, the reveal when they revealed, Overgirl, why didn't they call her Ubergirl? Maybe they didn't want anyone to ask for a ride.
Well, that's what she's called in the comics, so that's what they called her.
So, and then, I have to say, I was very disappointed that they couldn't get Matt to reprise his role, Matt Lesher, as...
He's working on Will and Grace right now.
It's understandable. It's a good show. I look forward to seeing him on Will and Grace. But, yeah, it was disappointing. I mean, they obviously have a backup plan because they used,
I thought it was nice because we didn't see a lot of Tom as Reverse Flash. As far as actually in the suit and using his powers. It was kind of revealed late in the game. So it was nice to see him in the role and just add another version to play.
Yes, how many different... That guy is a very good actor, and he gets to have so much fun playing different characters from Apocalyptic Worlds and Playboy and,
Swedish guys.
Yep, Swedish guys, and being HR, who is very different from the Harrison Wells from Earth 2, and then he gets to play Thawne. He has a lot of fun. I hope he doesn't lose track of who he is. So we have our 3 different villains. Though why they use the Earth 1 Thawne, I guess he needed to know history.
And they just wanted someone with history with Barry.
Right, and since he's from the future, he would know that Supergirl would be attending the wedding. But overall, again, liked it.
Yeah. I actually liked it because I feel like most of the shows, for being called superhero shows, are mainly interpersonal drama with some action. Whereas I'm watching because I want to see superheroes in action with maybe some interpersonal drama, because sure, that's realistic, but they're not soap operas. And they're basically becoming that. They did drop some of that in here with the whole Felicity and Oliver thing, and in the beginning, I didn't like what they did with Iris trying to talk about the wedding while Barry is fighting King Shark. But as far as
that whole opening was kind of a funny...
It was forced and supposed to be lighthearted, but it just made me feel like, okay, this is stupid. Because why would you do that?
Barry, finish off King Shark.
We need to talk about our wedding. I'm like, don't make her like this. She's smart and capable.
And then, of course, the legends are fighting people.
They're just randomly fighting. They just went there to kick their asses. They didn't really pick up anything. They didn't...
It's like,
that
oh,
must
wait.
have been a small anachronism.
Yeah. And then, of course, Kara and Alex all upset and, the whole... well, we're going to go to a wedding and have fun anyway.
Get me started on them.
So the whole storyline in there, they had different threads. Jefferson and Martin finding a way to split apart.
Yeah, the past few episodes, they've been showing them basically figure out the best way to break up.
But that whole splitting up, and it was a little funny that Martin found a way for Jefferson to be Sticky Man, the spectacular Sticky Man. There was some humor throughout it, but I like the fact that in this one we saw a lot of people in each other's spaces. We got to see Team Arrow and the Legends and Star Labs. We got to see everybody eventually on the Wave Rider. We got to see a lot of interaction between the different characters. They introduced the Ray, which was very cool.
That was very just random and out of nowhere, but that was cool.
Fun fact, when the Ray comic book came out in the 90s, I would say, the artist on it, Howard Porter, was a very good friend of mine. And Dennis Janke, the inker of Man of Steel, and I and Howard went to visit DC Comics, and that's how he got hired. And I didn't. Howard, excellent artist, and he started the Ray comic book. Anyway, so we got to see the Ray. We got the return of Leo Snart. Citizen Cold. Yes. It was good to see him. And he's gay, which is all
with the
good.
Ray.
Gay with the Ray. Which is wonderful, for them. I'm very happy for them. The whole we need Kara's heart was a plausible reason for them to come. Why they wouldn't have attacked Supergirl on her Earth, I don't know. Maybe they didn't want to mess with Superman.
Maybe. Although Thawne seemed to have no problem with the prospect of facing him, as he said he'd already done it.
Which leads us to the question, has he faced Kara's cousin from Earth, whatever number she's on, in the future? Or was it the Superman from Earth 1 when he finally appears, or was it a different Superman entirely?
Yeah.
So confusing. It's, all these Earths. But lots of possibilities.
I like it. Lots of potential.
I'm curious about the fact that he died on Legends of Tomorrow. So are we seeing this Thawne was after the last time he left Barry, but before he joined the Legion of Doom on Legends of Tomorrow? Or is it somehow, did he come back? Is it a time remnant? It's very confusing.
Who knows? Who knows?
Which is the whole thing with the whole time wibbly wobbly thing in the Flash and Arrowverse. How Oliver Queen ended up to be the Fuhrer on Earth X didn't really seemed an odd coincidence that it would be Oliver Queen.
Well, we realize that even though the Earths are operating on their own, a lot of the characters do have similar traits. So if he somehow became a skilled fighter,
he'd beat up Hitler or Himmler or whoever came after.
But born into the regime and into a rich family. White boy he is.
I don't know how Oliver became the Fuhrer. We're just going to have to let that one go. So, yeah, very few flaws. The fate of Martin Stein. That was sad. That was very sad. It kind of came together that they came up with a cure just in time to save Jefferson.
Yeah.
But it was very sad to see him pass.
And just sad for the fact that he, of all people, was killed by Nazis, which is probably something he never envisioned would happen to him.
No, probably not.
That was kind of a low blow.
But it was sad when he died, and then it was even sadder the funeral. Now, I thought this was a good way of reminding people that Nazis are bad.
Yeah.
Nazis bad. Everything that they stand for, bad.
Yeah, there was no, are we sure we should be fighting them? Are we sure it's okay to kill them?
Yeah. And little, I'd say almost political in-jokes, like, it feels good to be punching Nazis.
Which is funny that that's a political statement,
Make America
Aryan again.
Yeah, so there was some, not preachy politics, but there was some politics in there that says, Nazis, reminder, they're bad. So the fight scenes were awesome.
Yeah, I love, obviously, the final fight.
Everyone. Well, even just a lineup.
Just a massive splash page. That was really cool.
It felt like Justice League Unlimited. Yeah. It's like, here we are.
Pick a bunch of characters that aren't totally correlated, but
put them together.
This is the team you got.
So, yeah, I liked it. I thought it was really well done. Looking forward to next year's crossover. And it wouldn't hurt. I know that they occasionally have people from Arrow going into Flash and back and forth. It wouldn't hurt for there to be, not huge events, but maybe just have, the Flash or maybe Jay Garrick show up in Arrow or on Legends of Tomorrow or something like that, to help them out. I think it'd be really cool for them to, swap out things, and it doesn't have to necessarily be, this huge major event to get people together.
Well, hopefully with, as well as this crossover performed, they'll sprinkle smaller versions of that.
Where was Ralph?
That's what I was always wondering. Where's my boy?
I mean, it's quite possible that they didn't invite him because he would have hit on a lot of the guests.
Well, I mean, it's not totally surprising that he wasn't at the wedding because they haven't known him for long, although I think he would take it as a slight. That, I've been working with you guys and you're all nice to me and I don't get to come to your wedding? Okay. But at least joining in the fight, he wasn't at Star Labs, he wasn't anywhere.
Well, maybe in the next episode they will explain why he wasn't there. Maybe he went somewhere.
Is he going to be
case.
their version of Donna Noble, just always out of town when the thing happens?
I would like to see next year's crossover. Obviously, who knows what the threat will be, but there's plenty that they can choose from. I would love to see Ralph in it. I would love to see Jay Garrick play a part in the next one. I was worried early on that we wouldn't get to see, like, Ray wasn't there, though he was friends with Barry somewhat. I guess he was more Felicity and Oliver, so... I was worried we wouldn't get to see Ray or Vixen or the other legends, and then we did, so that was good. Yeah. I'd love to see maybe, would it be interesting to see Superman from Kara's world?
That's what I was going to suggest, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see him come back. Obviously, we do not want him to be on Supergirl so much that he takes over the show.
Yeah. But as far as a crossover, I was actually kind of hoping that he would show up at the end, but everyone was able to handle it without him, and he had to defend that Earth.
Yeah, having him show up at the end and be like...
What I miss.
But it would be very cool to see that version of Superman. Though now both Supermen smile.
Finally.
Last thing I want to talk about is the legality of the wedding. Now, John Diggle was gracious enough to perform the ceremony for Barry and Iris. And Barry and Iris were about to get married, so presumably they have a wedding license ready to be signed by an officiant. Oliver and Felicity decided to get married right then and there. I don't think their marriage is legal.
Did they already purchase a license the last time they decided to, and they just didn't use it?
I don't know if there's an expiration on those things. I don't know. Maybe they will address that.
Or maybe it was just a cute thing and they'll not do anything. Because the less they talk about their personal issues, the more we can have good superhero shows.
There needs to be some personal conflict, which... Some. But when it becomes the focus of the show, yeah, I agree. But I still love these shows. Arrow is not the top show. Right now it's kind of Oliver's not being Arrow most of the time. And
but he's kind of back.
And he's kind of killing people again. And
they were Nazis, though.
They were Nazis.
And himself.
And he killed himself. Is that suicide? I don't know. That's kind of strange. Barry, of course, did not kill Thawne because Barry is a good guy.
But he did have him in his grasp, and he's just like, get out of here.
Which is odd that Thawne didn't turn right around and attack Barry again. So.
But he wants more fun. He does enjoy what he does.
Well, let's see what face I'm wearing next time. Because we don't know if we can get Matt back again. So maybe it'll be this one, maybe it'll be Matt's one. Yeah, and of course, Overgirl kind of blew up. So
nice.
She is no longer a threat. I thought they said something about when she goes critical, it will destroy... I thought they said like the universe or something like that. I'm like, really? I don't think so. I could see it destroying a sizable portion of the city. She was kind of like a nuclear bomb.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, the effect was not quite what they chalked it up to be.
Yeah, I think they could have just said, yeah, well, if she goes off, it's going to be like a 100,000 megaton nuclear warhead going off in the middle of wherever we're fighting, so...
Yeah. And that would still be a sufficient enough threat.
I don't know that I really like the fact that the Nazis had their own Wave Rider. Thought that was kind of like, why? I mean, is it a big dangerous weapon because they can use it to go into another world and then back in the timeline of that one and change things? Was that their plan? I mean, it just kind of was this great ultimate weapon. And it's just the Wave Rider.
Yeah.
Hey, our heroes have one too. It just did not seem to be that big of a deal, but it was just like,
yeah,
okay.
There were definitely some things that they touted.
Yeah, maybe it's just because they're Nazis and they're like, well, it's our weapon, so it has to be an ultimate weapon. And final thoughts?
Just bring more of the elements in story writing that made this so successful into the rest of the shows. Right,
and get Oliver out of, the whole, we're arresting you for being the Green Arrow thing.
Yeah, this has been done before. Stop recycling that.
Exactly. We don't want real world drama. We get enough of that in the real world.
Well, it might be the final thing that drives him to publicly reveal, because he does do that in the comics, but this would not be a good time for him to do that.
Anyways, that's what we have to say. If you haven't watched Crisis on Earth X, then you've just gotten a lot of spoilers.
But you can watch it on the CW app or online.
Exactly. And we will be doing yet more fandom focuses in the future. And we will see you next time. As always, have fun. What was it? As always, have fun.
And cosplay on.